Okay, sorry for the delay. Had a little bit of admin to take care of with, you know, trying to get jobs and shit. You know how it is. But yeah, with that done, like I said, I'm not going to do all this clicking and dragging to get these skulls on screen. But if you joined me on screen, in paired up in the editor. But if you joined me, come on. If you joined me for the stream earlier today, what we did was we made skeleton versions of all the characters, which is actually pretty crazy. I was going to just focus on programming today, but we've actually gone and made undead versions of all of the characters that currently exist. Not all the heroes, I don't think. I don't think we have an undead chicken, but I don't think that's going to happen. And yeah, undead goblins, undead orcs, undead wargs, undead totems even. We've done undead everything, which is pretty damn crazy. Pretty damn crazy. But yeah, there you go. I just think if we're gonna have like a cheap art style, I just think it's cool. Like I think players will really love that. I think once you actually try and if you raise dead on a unit, the unit should look like it did in life, but the skeleton version. So it's technically quite a bit of work, but just a morning. If we were with a fully like high fidelity art style, it would take considerably longer. But for a quick one like this, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. So with that done, the next thing, and what do I have here? Is assign. So I've been so distracted today with random bits. But here we are. We have our character. Yeah, so we want to figure out how to raise dead. Okay, so I started by making this resurrect. Yeah, raise undead. That's the one. Okay, and there's a few things to consider here. So first, I want to sort out the targeting. So we want to look at update targets. Update all targets. So this is the code that decides which target we're going to go for. And so we have our weapon container. And we already have an exception for this sort of sacrifice type weapon, which is a new one. So in this case, we target a nearby friendly, even though it's not, I'm not going to get into it. If you saw the stream yesterday, that's what we did. Weapon attack type is attack type sacrifice, then do that. Target the lowest HP nearby character. And otherwise do the normal thing. So first and I just have to go through it in my head for, so I can understand it. So if it's a heal, so yeah, if a healer don't target characters at max health, and also exclude self. If you're doing consume, don't target yourself because you can't consume your own HP. That would be pointless. And then find the nearest one. If we found no target and we're a healer, just target yourself. But I want to say we want to create another exception. So we're getting more and more into the spaghetti code. Don't we love spaghetti code? If weapon, and so these are for these very special one-of-a-kind weapons. Attack type, well, not one-of-a-kind. There might be more than one, but if weapon.attack type is attack type resurrect. Okay. Then yeah. No. Sorry, I'm not very good at... I think it's a good sign, right? If I'm not very good at spaghetti code. So, yeah, all of that. Else. All of that. Lovely, lovely spaghetti. Delicioso. Muy... I don't know Italian. I know Spanish a bit. Muy delicioso. Right. Okay, if my weapon type is resurrect, then I am looking for the nearest character who can actually be dead. And we're not going off target list. If we're not going off target list, what are we going on? Do we need a list that contains all units living or dead? I think we do, and I don't think we have one. So let's just start by one thing at a time. So we're going to need to make that list. So for each in all characters, if target and we don't care about that. In fact, we prefer that it's false. If target dot is dead is equal to true. Dot is dead. Let's never mind. Target dot is dead is equal to true. Okay. Never mind all of this. So we don't actually need this is valid target bool. Right. So we get rid of that. Target, okay, we've already got this, so we can get rid of that, of course. Distance. So we're getting the nearest. That's it. It's really quite simple, actually. Okay, but now we need to make sure that we have this list that contains all characters living or dead. Which would happen... I mean, we could make a list that's like a dead list, that like when you die, you get added to the dead list. So let's, let's make dead list, right? And then when a character is dead equals true, dead list gm dot dead list dot add this, and then spawn dead list dot remove this. Then we need to actually make the dead list, and we're going to put it in this very tidy pile of variables in our GM right here, exactly where it should go. I'm being sarcastic. Public static list character dead list equals new list character. On start we should okay. Yeah, so this way it won't revive like characters that have been spawned as part of the object pooling, but will only target characters who have already died. So character dead list, and actually we do have a good place for this list over here where we put all the lists. Okay, dead list. Okay. So when a character dies, it's added to the dead list, and when it's spawned, it's removed from the dead list. So now back over, update all targets. If we are using a resurrect weapon, So we already have for each character, and we don't need the is dead, because if it ends up targeting a character who isn't dead, then that's a problem. So we're going to be going through all the characters who are dead. Is that wise? Yeah, I mean, because my worry is that could end up being a rather large list, but it probably won't be as large as the living. I mean, it'll be quite large. We can do some things about that. Like, so if I feel like this bit of script ends up causing stuttering, I will say something along the lines of remove yourself from this list if, like, after a certain amount of time has passed. Okay. Yeah, that works. All right. Okay, so that should so if the weapon has this resurrect thingy on it, it should target a dead character. A character who has been killed and not respawned since. Okay. And now we need somewhere in here. So we have our attack type, and again, we're sort of making this quite messy because we're adding all of these sort of single use case things, but that's what we're here to do today. We're creating these funky characters. I always get this wrong. So one S, two R's, or two S's and one R? Resurrect spelling. Should know by now. Yeah, one S, two R's. That's the confusion. Okay. Resurrect. And what do we need to know when we resurrect someone? So this is kind of like a magic attack. This shouldn't work like a magic attack. So like let's just say we did resurrect, and we just make a bool. So in the case of resurrect, then resurrect. And how do I program this? How do I code this? How should I code this? So yeah, that's a ranged attack. That's a magic attack. I need to think about whether it should be a magic attack. One of the reasons that this gives me an aneurysm, basically, is because I do have on my list that I need to change the way this works. This creates an AoE effect, which is a game object with a collider on it, and then everything that's caught in the collider gets the effect of that, basically. But I think I need to change that to use a sphere cast, like a ray cast. That'll just be cheaper. That'll make the game run smoother. So I ought to do that. Make the effect. So, what if we did use a magic attack, and that, like, what would the rules be? Because it would. No, I mean, it's fundamentally different. I would have to bake into the AoE effect. It would be like, make AoE effect. This is an AoE effect that revives people. Do that. Like, no. We want to do void resurrect. It's one S, two R's. Okay. So we have target and weapon. Well, the target, it should be on the weapon. So that's kind of redundant. Why do we need to store target? Let's just. So what do we need to know? We need to know where it's going. So let's just copy magic attack and change what needs changing. So we check the distance. Future pause. Transform dot position. That would just be a capital T target. So first we check, can we actually hit this thing? Is this within range? If not, then it just kind of doesn't do anything. Scroll of inspiration doesn't apply. Animation applies, SFX applies, reset timer applies, make the effect, consume doesn't apply, point weapon at target does apply. So make the effect is, do the thing. Okay, so we want to say keep an eye on my emails because I've got some important emails potentially coming today. Okay, no, not the important one. Who's winging it? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, thanks for the fire. Yeah, I'm a little bit burnt out today, but we're gonna do this. Resurrect. So we're not making an AoE effect. We are making a, what do you call it? A physics sphere cast. I'm not very familiar with these ones. I think I have one somewhere in the project. Sphere, is it sphere cast? No, I don't have it in the project. Raycast, like my brain's not working so well today. I'm just gonna Google this. Raycast sphere. In a sphere. Physics overlap sphere. I think I might have already got one of these somewhere. So when I started this project, I was like trying to like get AI to help me with it. I basically replaced all of the AI stuff. But yeah, here we go. Overlap sphere. Is it just there? What's this one? Update buffs. Oh. Yeah, that's using a physics sphere. And then what's this one? Oh, what's this? Oh, okay, yeah, that's the ultimate. So we make our little overlap sphere. So it's quite easy. It's very, very easy. So we just make a list of colliders. And because this is going to be happening quite often, I am going to store that. So I'm going to say list. What is that a list of? List of colliders. List collider hits. Let's just write private, even though I think if you don't write anything, it takes it as private. But let's keep consistent. Equals new list hits, and we're going to use that hits. Should I clear? Okay, so that's an array. See, so I'm not really good with arrays. I've always done lists. Does that work? And what's the beef here? Okay, rain attack doesn't exist because the code has gone all wonky. Right. Just to stop everything from freaking out. Okay. So, yeah, that works. That's an array. An array is a thing with a little box after it. Make AoE effect. So we're not making AoE effect, but I want to kind of keep the same bit. So overlap sphere, transform.position. So no, this would be target, capital T, target.transform.position. And the AoE is weapon, and that'll be capital W weapon. No, what's the weapon that is on this weapon container? Ah, lowercase t, lowercase w. Okay, let's just make that a double uppercase. Hopefully that doesn't create a swarm of errors. Shall I just not do that? I can change that later if I think that's important. Let's just stick with the lowercase. Transform weapon dot stat weapon dot AoE plus. Is it times? Times character dot AoE x. Yeah. Okay. And that should do, I could do a layer mask, but I think I'll get into that later. So layer mask would be saying, don't even consider things that aren't within this layer mask. And then what other options do we have? Query trigger interaction. I don't know about that. We've got this one, which doesn't ask for a layer mask. I probably should have that later. I'm going to make a note of that for optimization, because this is the kind of thing that's going to come up. So sort layer masks for all things, for all colliders. Okay. Right. So we have our, and so for each, why is that in there? For each collider hit and hits, revive it. Revive it. If so, yeah. So gm dot c dot raise. Where is it? Raise undead. It's very, I think I should just call this resurrect, right? Raise undead. And we're asking whose team am I on, and this would be character.team. This would be target, capital T. And this would be weapon dot damage, and then how do I, like, yeah, round. And so we should go raise undead, even though it only really needs to be an int. Let's make it a float because it's just reading from damage, unless we took it from something else. No, I think damage is like, that's what people are going to read as how strong this thing is. I mean, it might make sense to take it from, I was just thinking we could take it from something that is already an int, like chain or piercing, but I think just keep it as a float because that's damage. That's what people are going to understand. The more damage a revive does, the more strong the revive is. Okay. So we go raise undead. And we can, okay, yeah, so that should work then. I think that's going to work. And I think that's optimized and that's nice. And we actually don't need to, so the thing I was saying earlier was that we might need to, so to do, copy, stats, load resources. Oh god, that's, yeah. Assign orders. We actually don't need to do that. Set targeting type. No. It just doesn't apply. That was a thing that I thought I'd have to do, is revert back to using lists of targets rather than just using lists of targets. We don't need to revert that yet. We might need to do that once we start introducing multiple teams. Okay. It's always good if we can isolate, like get as many things that you can do done, and then when it comes to sort of sorting out a single feature, adding a single new piece of functionality, just focusing on that. Okay, make a copy or use corpse. So that's an interesting one. I think use corpse is fine for now, but we'll see if it seems like it becomes an issue. Reduce stats based on strength of resurrection. So I think there should be like a debuff, because the debuff system is the best system to use, or the buff system. It's actually a buff is just a negative. A debuff is just a negative buff. So we'll use our buff system to reduce the stats. So let's go to character and we go add buff. Not in there, come on. And so what I'm doing now, in case I didn't make it clear, is I want to lower the stats of a character when they have been revived, so that they're not at their full strength. And the best way to do that is, oh, for God's sake, case undead debuff. The best way to do that is to use the buff system, because that just clears every time a unit is respawned and stuff. So it's like, it's just the best way to temporarily change the stats on a character. And basically, undead debuff is going to take every single stat. It's going to take every single stat into account. So max health. I'm not going to remember all of them. I mean, we don't have to use all of them. We could just do like max health. In fact, we could just do max health, just to make it weaker so that it dies quicker. Max health, like buffs will be the same. Like chaining, piercing will probably be the same. Special chance, that's more for the main character, for the hero. Attack speed could stay the same. Speed could stay the same. We expect their HP to be lower. Spikes, range, armor, crit rate. I think it might just be HP. Oh god, I did do some sit-ups yesterday. That's good. Max health times equals buff value, and then would we also do like speed and attack speed? I mean, health for sure. Okay. And then the other thing I would want to do... So yeah, okay, that's actually simpler than I thought. I was thinking, yeah, all their stats would be halved. Let's go ahead and just take these basic stats. So we'll say attack speed times equals buff dot value. Attack speed x times equals buff dot value. AoE range? No, I think those can stay the same. Attack speed and speed. And let's say damage. Damage x times equals buff dot value. Okay. And then we just need to make sure that over in remove buff, we're doing the opposite. So divide equals. Yeah, divide in each case, because we're going to be messing with some big numbers here. So yeah. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is make it last less long. So the typical so when we might have a character, we say return to pool after what's your game about, Sokrim? Is it similar to Warbeans? Is it a similar genre as well? I'm actually going to change the name of this game. I'm going to change it to Army of Survivors. Because that explains it better. So you can have the name. I'd be happy to give that up. On spawn. So we have a timer that basically tells them to return to pool after 180 seconds. And that's on spawn. So I need to remember if I want to change that. A tabs knockoff. Oh, that sounds cool. If you wanted to, have you before you put the game on Steam, do let me know, because if you did want the name Warbeans, I'd be perfectly happy to like rescind it, because I've already plans to change the name of this game to Army of Survivors. Whereas Warbeans, yeah, it kind of makes sense for a tabs game. Would allow you to have like more units and stuff than the usual tabs, because they'd be beans, so it'd be easier to render. Okay. RTPA timer equals 180. What's different between your game and tabs? What's the unique selling point? Okay, so I would say so RTPA. Okay, so that's a component. Is that public? No, it's private. Let's just make it public, because we can access it from here, and we say, so add the buff. So for one, just before I forget, so corpse.rtpa equal dot timer equals, like, they would have a shorter timer, like 10 seconds. Like, how long should a revived unit last for? Let's say 10 times strength, and then that would definitely have to come after the on spawn. And also on spawn is when we reset the buffs. So all of this would have to come after. So corpse.add buff. What do we call it? Corpse.add buff. No. Corpse.add buff, undead buff. Okay, and I don't think we want this to be, so yeah, this is not visible, false. Buffer is whoever did the raising. I guess that's an interesting, because if can we just say null? I think we can say null. Not every buffer. Not every buff needs a buffer. Okay, but this does need to be a new buff. So undead. Is it undead debuff? So stat is okay. So stat, yeah, we'll just bit of a confusion there, but we just named the stat after the. It's the same basically. Value. I'm just gonna put 1 for now because that's something I need to think about. Put 90, 99 so that I know I need to think about it. Debuff, true. Permanent, true. Is that true? Yeah. Permanent, true. Yeah, that works. Time. Well, if it's permanent, time is irrelevant. So we just put 1. And sprite equals null. So that's our buff. Okay, and so the value is going to depend on the strength. And maths really does not come natural to me. So if I multiply max health by 0.5, that's going to half all of these values. So if I multiplied it by, yeah, so that can be equal to the strength if we go resurrection. And if we sort of say the strength, so the damage of the resurrection would start at 0.5, then it would go, and then at the top level, it would actually be like, it would finally get to, what if we just went up a little bit each time? 5. And the damage went up to like 0.5. So each thing you revive would come back with half its HP. Half it, like, would be half damage, half HP, half everything. But then it would be 0.6. We go up piece by piece. Does that sound right? 0. Up to 0.8. And then we actually have our like improved Staff of Resurrection, which is just going to be better on all fronts. I need to sort out the stats, but yeah, the AoE is much higher. It's going to like raise dead on a bunch of units. So if we said this starts at 1, do I have the up? What did I write here before? Multiple units. Yeah, so it's just going to be the same, but like bigger, better. Like, I think that's fine. It's not fundamentally different. It's just going to have a much wider range, and it's going to start at reviving units at full strength and move its way up to actually bringing back units a little bit stronger than they were. 1.2, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that works. With the AoE being quite high, I think that's probably too high, and I think the attack speed just being stuck at 4. We can always change these things, but I want it to at least have some sense of balance before we start testing it. And this would be, yeah, range, whatever. I think I can just stay stuck at 6. Need to be more strict about not upgrading everything about a weapon each time, only the bits that are like key to the weapon. AoE is pretty damn large, so that's going to be resurrecting quite a lot of units with more strength than they even started with. That's kind of OP. Is that OP? OP is fun. I mean, it requires people to be dead. It requires you to stay in the area where the characters died. So I'd rather have it OP and then lower its stats than the other way around. Okay. So if the buff will be equal to the strength. But then we need to think about so if the strength is 0.5, then 10 times 0.5 would be 5. So let's go like 20. If the strength is 1. Yeah, OP weapons are good, right? Like, that's what this game is about. It's the same with Vampire Survivors. Like, if you get that combo weapon, which is rare, so this is, in this game, similar to all these similar games, you can combine 2 different weapons into 1 weapon. You can combine 2 different allies into 1 ally. You can combine 2 different talents into 1 talent. And that comboed version needs to be OP. It needs to be like ridiculously good. Similar to Ball Pit, actually. Ball Pit, I was really happy when that came out. I'd already started doing all this, but that game seemed to understand the simple joy of taking 2 cool things and combining them into a really cool thing. And then it even has that extra layer of the fusion, which I'm not going to do. But what was it? But there's some like mega combos. Like you can make like a Nosferatu ball if you make like a vampire ball, a maggot ball, and like a mosquito ball, which are all combos themselves, right? Then you can combine all of those 3 into a Nosferatu ball, which is just ridiculously OP. I love that. That's what it's all about. And then you just keep upping the ante on the enemy side. So Ball Pit gives you these ridiculously OP tools, but then it just keeps raising the stats of the enemy, whether it's HP, pure numbers. Having a big, really powerful weapon against an endless horde of enemies is that's fun. That's really, really fun. Okay. So quick maths. 20 times 0.5 is 10. 20 times 0.6 is... I'm very bad at maths. 20 times 6 is... 10 times 6 is 60, 120. So that would be 12 seconds. So that's too short, right? So we go from 10 to 12, and then all the way at the other end, 1 would be they live for 20 seconds. So let's just do like 30. So that would be 15 seconds by default and about 30 seconds at the end. Seems about right. I need to make sure that's in the tooltips. Revived allies come back like they don't last as long. But I wonder to what extent players like either don't care. Like if you care about the stats, you're going to want to know. It's going to explain somewhere that the strength or the damage of your reviving stick means how strong is the unit going to be when it revives and how long is it going to last for. But this should basically do it. I mean, this is basically like... I thought this would be more difficult. The only question mark I have is this whole thing of like using a copy or a corpse. And then, of course, once we actually try it, we're gonna run into problems. We're gonna have some bugs. But I'm kind of... Oh, that's actually quite exciting. Let's give this a whirl then. I think I'm sure there's some really stupid thing that I've forgotten to do. Oh, the main one being attaching these characters. So making sure that I'm just going to do it for Soldier. So I need to take all of these characters and I need to find this sprite called Undead Version. And I need to assign the corresponding thing. And this is a real pain because I have to click Soldier 2, characters, find the thing, click it and drag it. That's a pain in the ass. But hey, it's, you know, what we do for love of the game, eh? I tried to find a better way. I couldn't find one. Of course, I could name the sprites as they go in. I could do like a resource load thing, but I gather that just sort of adds loading time to the beginning. So I'm going to want to do this eventually anyway, so I might as well do it. And I can oh yeah, and I started doing it in batches before. I found a way to do it a bit quicker than what I was doing. So if that is soldier, if that is human beings undead 5, this is human beings undead 6. That's how it will work. And then I would do the same. Let me just do the same for ranger, because it depends which ones I pick. I think one thing I can do, one thing I should do, is at least get the basic one. Undead. And it's not even... Yeah, human beings. If I can just set them all to 0... So that, and then that's actually helpful, because then I can just click that and it takes me to this page. So I'm going to grab all the ones I haven't done. So I've done Bannerman. I've done Berserker. I've done Looter. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Undead version, yeah. I've done Looter. Haven't done Mage. Haven't done Priest. Ranger. Rogue. I think I've done all of them except, so yeah, Mage to Shield Bearer, grab all of them and make them, oh, apparently I've done some of these. Ah yeah, grab all of them and make them human beings undead 0. And the same with the witch here. And no orcs are going to be... Oh wait, yeah, no, because I can revive enemies too. That's the thing. It's any unit that has died. So I'll take all of these and just assign them human beings undead 0. And then I'll do the same with the green beans. I'll just take all of them. And assign green. It's green. I spelt it wrong. Green beans. Spelt the word green wrong, and I'm sticking to that. I'm not changing it. Green bean. Okay. And then they've at least, so because the alternative is that it's going to say, oh well, they don't have that sprite, so it's just going to set them to a null sprite, which will either be an error, or it will just be invisible. And I want them to at least have a placeholder. So that's good. Okay, let's give it a crack. Wow, if that would be an achievement for today. So I want to go into. So, and I'll just do a run with this, see how it goes. So actually, I think it will be really fun. So Sean. Oh, and let's set. Let's just set a, let's just make it look like the healing stuff. So we've got weapons. We're looking for undead weapons. Tier 2, Tier 1. Black stuff. And we have a Staff of Resurrection. And I'll just make that look like the... I'll just make that look like a healing staff. Just so I can see it, so I can see like when it's cooled down and stuff. Okay, and then we take Sean, the prefab, and we make his starting weapon Staff of Rare, single S, double R, action. Double check that's actually what it's called. Resurrection. Okay. And then we'll give that a whirl. Let's see how that plays. Okay, compiler errors. Good. Resurrect. We don't actually need any information because it's all come from the weapon. Okay, let's see how that goes. Oh, I'll have to go back to the start screen as well. The start scene. Don't know if you can hear my son in the background. I might actually like fail because I'm just thinking about how the staff's going to work in the beginning, so I'm not going to be doing any damage myself. Chance to double healing. Oh, that's a good one to think of. A res is going to count as a heal when it comes to artifacts, and I need to set that up. Is there a boat coming in? Wait, that seems off. Why were there like 2 enemies straight away? Let me first. I'm gonna put a little thing just to make sure. Raising target. It's okay. I don't think the viewers mind.
Do you want the boat?
All 2 of the viewers right now.
Yes. One Cyrus.
All right. Okay, no compiler errors from the start. Let's see. Yeah, I'm like, why was there 2? What, I shouldn't be starting with 2 units like that. Was that just my imagination? Okay. But I didn't raise the soldier. It didn't work. So, we're not there yet. Yeah, because it's inactive. So, there's some things that should be like, there's just a few things that I've missed. That makes sense. That's the most likely problem here. So, on spawn. So when we do a spawn ally, okay, well, does this turn them on? Yeah, so that's where they get set active. True. Okay, I think that's going to be the only thing. Active objects. Let's just ignore that and see if that comes up as a bug. Alright, so we want to make sure that when we're doing this resurrect, we say corpse. That's weapon container. GM, raised undead, corpse. Let's set it active first. Oh, on spawn is happening twice. Let's put it right at the beginning. Yeah, because we're, yeah, okay, and then corpse Game object dot set active true. Okay, let's see if that works. So now it's the fun part, the debugging. So you know, you make something work, you code something in a way that you think it will work, and then you press play and you see what breaks. Okay, raising soldier, where is it? Wait, did I even... Yeah, raise undead. Did I forget to actually do the... Yeah. Raise undead. Corpse.game object set active true. So... Space time DB. No. I haven't seen that. What is that? There, I do have some like space magic and time magic, which are like combined upgrades in this game, and if you combine them, it's going to make space time. But that hasn't even really been designed yet. So where is this soldier? Maybe I should put a debug on the soldier. Like was it there? Am I just not seeing it? Okay, I'm gonna tentatively check that out. Space time DB. Okay, that's coming up as a thing. Fastest database in the world. Space-time DB. I don't know. Back end. I'm going to do a Gemini search. What is space-time DB? I don't know. I'm not going to mess around with that. I don't know what that is. But thanks for sharing. I just make everything myself. Oh yeah, that worked that time. I mean, obviously, it's got a couple issues, but apparently it worked. Okay, interesting. But like buggy in weird ways that I don't quite understand. That's the worst kind. There's ones that stop the game and then you can just double click a thing and see why it's not working. And then it's usually like a null reference exception or something. But to have things kind of weirdly work, that's confusing to me. Is that because I had double debuff or something? Okay, let's just... So, soldier and goblin fight. Okay, so I should have raised goblin. And if I look at enemy container, we've got a goblin. Let's see if I can find them all. That one, and that one. Is this the one that was raised? Okay. And what's the deal with this? Why isn't it moving? Armor is some weird number. Damage X is 5. Movement speed. Speed. Okay, so why isn't it doing anything? Oh, I think I know why. Okay, I think I know why. It's because it's not being added to a team. And also, I think I know why the first one didn't quite work. So let me think. So it needs to be added to a team. Corpse.team equals team. Team.add corpse. Those two should always go hand in hand. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know. Spacetime DB places your server entirely. Yeah, I mean, I'm like everything. I've made quite a few games. Everything works fine. I'm not going to start messing around with that kind of dark magic. Right. So yeah, we need to add the corpse to a team, and that will mean that it will now do stuff. And then I'm thinking about when someone dies, so dead list.add, I think because it gets added to the list before all of this stuff happens. So is dead becomes true. We trigger some things. We do on death. Then we do a whole bunch of things. We like turn it off. We drop some loot. Play death animation and destroy, or set game over. Play death animation. Like we need it to finish its animation. So I'm going to put it right at the end there, and I think that's what's the problem, because it hadn't finished like dying before I turned it off, basically. Yeah, I think that's it. It hadn't finished dying. So it was dying, and then I was reviving it, and then like if I revive it the very frame that it dies, it doesn't finish dying, and then like it's revived before it's fully dead, and it's not like it might have switched off. It might just be still in its death animation. So let's try again now and see if we can get this going. So one of you die. Yeah, revived a goblin. It's slow, but it's alive. It's not very good. But it is indeed alive. Is it actually even doing damage? I think it did an attack. I mean, there's no reason to think it just randomly wouldn't be doing damage. Yeah, it did a hit. So it's a bit slow. Feels a bit like not very good, but it is working. It's a pretty hype moment, actually, that it's working. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty pleased that it works. Okay, yeah, it's just a bit crap. That's the problem. Because it's very weak, very slow. That would get better. But what we want is maybe for it to have a bit more AoE, so that there's more of a chance of me rezzing a few at a time. So let's have a look at that. What is the AoE? Weapon.aoe, character AoE. So we have what is the character AoE X? It's not like 0, is it? I don't have to say like 1 plus character AoE X. Yeah, weapon AoE times shooter.aoex. And the AoE of the weapon. So stuff of resurrection. AoE is 3. What if we made it like 4? 4.4. 4.8. 5.2. What if we made it a bit faster? 3. 3. 3. And ideally we would start with a weapon as well as the AoE. But it's pretty exciting that it works. Like it's not beautiful. It needs balancing. But from not knowing, how, from not like being able to revive something in this game to being able to revive it now. So resurrection is now a thing in Warbeans. That's pretty exciting, I think. So let's give this one more little play. It ought to be viable as a starting weapon, I think. Yeah, that's good. And maybe it shouldn't slow them down quite so much, like having the rigor mortis. Oh, hello. FGM.art. Okay, so what's the problem there? So we have. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Funny, weird. Okay, well that's going to keep bugging, so I need to try again. And yeah, I mean, like, it's reviving a dude from the dead. It's working. From not even having this as a concept before to now it's like, now it works. That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, actually. It kind of feels good. I'd love to have some like better animation, like have them kind of, you know. I mean, they already come out the ground. What could I do to improve the animation? Or should I make it that they can't be healed? That kind of thing. That kind of little detail. Yeah, but it fucking works though. Jesus, I'm so pleased. Wait. The weapons. I think they're tugged. I think they're yeah, they're shooting themselves. They're shooting themselves. They're hitting themselves. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're hitting themselves. Okay. So their weapons need so what happens with update targets? Set targeting type. Yeah, that's the one. It's not quite an accurate phrase, but okay. Okay, yeah, so that does depend on the team. So we would want to take our character and say, we just want to make sure that once we've revived someone, because their team has changed. So we would want to do this on spawn as well. So on spawn, oh damn it. So just somewhere like the set targets. Okay. And then we would want to say for each. Okay, so set targeting type happens when we change their weapon. We're going to need to do it whenever they spawn. Hopefully this isn't expensive, because this is going to happen fairly often. But we'll say weapon container dot set targeting type. Not a very accurate name for what it is, but it's fine. And we're going to want to do that on where was I in character there? Set targets. I think no. Oh yeah, so we set targets in on spawn, right? Yeah, we do. Okay. So as long as this comes after on spawn, which it does, then that should fix that. And again, hopefully it won't be too expensive. So we can finally live the dream of being a necromancer in this game. And with that, yeah, I mean, I think it might be, like, it's going to be tough to balance because this is likely going to be OP. I think the reason I had to, yeah, I mean, every 3 seconds kind of makes it better than, yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Block. Whoever dies first has the honor of being my first. No? What's wrong? Now, for God's sake, if... And there's this whole stupid thing I have to do whenever I'm checking for a weapon. So, actually, we'll just do it if weapon is equal to null. Yeah. Return. Or if weapon. Because sometimes we get like an empty weapon, even though like it's really weird. Because like there'll be no weapon, but it would be like, oh yeah, here's a weapon. It's a weapon with no name and no stats. It's like, no, just don't be a weapon. But I think that's just me not really fully understanding mono behaviors and things like that and how all of that works. This could be OP with like weapon resetting. Yeah. Okay, they're not attacking themselves anymore. Cool. We could be crazy and have a priest. No, let's do crits. Critical reset, so ranger. Yeah, and it's cool like having, I don't know, yeah, I like it. I mean, I've always liked being a necromancer. I've always liked that fantasy. And yeah, I mean, we've got the beginning of it here. Let's go. Let's play full screen. Yeah. Should we revive some wargs? I mean, it's annoying that I can't choose what to revive, but I guess that makes sense for this, you know, for this kind of game. Crits. Dagger. I'm just going to stay here until I revive a warg. Yeah, there's one. It's got the claw. Oh, it doesn't have the... Okay, yeah, because I didn't bother. So, like, they're all going to look boring and the same, sadly, all the skeletons. But once I do my little session of very boring, like, matching these sprites to the characters, then we'll end up with... I think I'll have to go for that. Once we match all the sprites with the characters, then it will look quite fun. So at the moment, yeah, the ranger skeletons should have little ranger hats, that kind of thing. Except for the goblin ones, but they will once they'll have their little leather caps. Should I go for? Which of these synergize with crit? I guess this one. Oh yeah, I could go for the dagger bow combo. That's a good one. It gets lots of crits. Makes throwing daggers. And yeah, like I have an army of undead units. Like they're not as strong as the other units, but if I'm going for a build that there we go, rogue, that focuses heavily on if I'm going for a build that focuses heavily on like having lots and lots of units, so things that spawn on death, things that well, that's basically the main one, then that's OP. That's great. That's lots of fun. Oh, getting electrified. Yeah. Okay. I think I need to add electrified to my list of thingies. I think I can do that while the game's running. So I go to project. Let's move that back over here. Move that back over here, please. Please. Let me do it. Move it back over here. There we go. And I take any character, jump into character sprite renderer, Then we have a list of renderers, and one of them should be should be named, shouldn't they? But yeah, I know it is electrified. Should be one of them. And yeah, luckily I've named it this time. And no, not here. In the character sprite renderer prefab, there we go. We have status effects, electrified. Add this one. Electrified renderer. Good. Okay. Right. AoE plus crit. I can't remember what that is. Let's do dagger. Crit, 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 crit. And then basically, like, if I've got critical reset, which means that if I crit someone, then I have a chance for all my weapons to reset, which would include my my resurrecting stuff, which is pretty cool. So I want to get in people's faces, and so I can crit them. So yeah, you can see my electrified sprite wasn't matching my body. So yeah, there's one. And it just means I'm going to revive. I'm going to do more resurrecting. Pretty cool, huh? Rogues. So like, yeah, having that crit artifact is really important in this game, I think, to have an artifact right at the beginning. So I made that one of the first unlocks. Attack speed is always good for every kind of build you're trying to make. I've resurrected an orc. But yeah, having the very, very slow attack speed is a bit of a pain. But it's kind of like when you're doing a resurrect build, when you're resurrecting skeletons and stuff, your focus is to just have bodies, isn't it? You just want lots and lots of bodies. Oh, hello. What's wrong? Okay. So it must have been killed somehow before. Let me think about that. Target update timeout happened. That shouldn't happen too often. Oh, that should like never happen. So that's our version of a performance issue. Okay, so I'm gonna delete that one because that's clogging the thing. Target update timeout, eh? Interesting. So something is making frames take too long to take. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see if that comes up again. What's this one? Okay, that was me trying to fix those bugs from before, but I fixed that. And what's this? So the character was inactive. So it was inactive before it could play that, eh? But how is that so? How could that be? Why would it have been inactive before it gets here? Also, we shouldn't be... We need a cleaner way of doing is on player team. I've got that on my to-do list. Yeah, get clean up is on player team, because that's just too expensive for like how often it's called. So yeah, then we drop the loot. But how could something... So it's obviously, this is a new issue. So this is obviously something to do with the resurrects. But Yeah, something to fix. I've got no idea. On death. Why would it have been switched off before it gets there? Maybe that is a... It could have nothing to do with the resurrect. Could just be quite rare. Okay, yeah, but the character timeout's taking a long time, so I don't know what that's about. So something... Oh yeah, and these guys... So I need to make sure that when a character is spawned, because I think there was just an issue there. They were just killing one of their friendly goblins. So when we are reviving, when we're raising undead, you don't raise the undead. That's like putting toast in a toaster. You put bread in a toaster. You raise the dead. Never mind. So it's changing teams. But then I'm pretty sure, like, so when we spawn one, when we spawn them, there should be, there should be, like, so, like, team equals, so yeah, team.add, so team equals team. That happens when we spawn them. Yeah, we spawn an ally and team. We add ally to the team and the ally's team becomes that team. And enemy team equals, yeah, and then when we spawn an enemy, same thing. But something is getting lost in the way there. There's no way the character can be null. I don't know why that's there. So we spawn an ally. Was that just a one-off because of that little bug that happened? Okay, I'm going to see if this happens again, if I see people targeting each other. Something's up. I think it's just because the undead move so slowly, so it makes my blob move in a strange way, and that's putting me off. That's like, I'm not sure what's happening there. Oh, okay, so this happened again, so it's not a rare thing. So how could the game object be inactive? Oh, and this is cool, so I can go here and be like, it's gonna stay here. And yeah, I found the corpse of the warlock. That's cool. That's actually really cool. It's a fire starter. Wait, what's Sean doing there? Oh, because that'll be our default human revive. That'll be, yeah, the 0-1. I mean, I don't actually think Sean's ever going to be revived like that, but... Okay, just got confused there for a second. I was like, what? Yeah, very interesting. And yeah, the target updating is very slow. So something's going on with the performance. Because basically instead of stuttering, the way I've coded it is instead of stuttering, they're just going to like pick their target slower. But that is very slow. So what is the issue there? I'm not sure. Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. We'll figure out all these, we'll answer all these questions, we'll debug this new stuff. And yeah, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate it. And thanks for all the words of support. And yeah, have a good evening. Thanks, bye. I'll be back on stream, I think tomorrow morning and in the afternoon. So if you want to see me debug all of these issues, figure out what's going on, why is the game slowed down and so on, we'll figure all that out. And worst case scenario, we cut this feature, but I don't think we'll need to. Okay, thanks for joining. Bye.